Welcome back to another episode of Pawns Aren't People. Today we have a game from Tim. He's been on my show since I've been doing this for ages and ages. And I'm going to concentrate really just on 3 moments. And a theme that I'm going to try to develop here is the idea that my meme of Pawns Aren't People is related to the idea that the biggest problem that people have at the area level around 1800 is the lack of respect for time. So if you imagine chess being a 3-dimensional game with material, time, and quality of position, that they're very good at keeping the material. They don't give that away for free, but they often will give their time, tempo, away for free. So let's breeze through the opening. And this is an opening I had a lot when I was a kid. Very fascinating game. And these are Tim's notes, by the way. These aren't mine. And knight takes d4 is an interesting attempt. And, you know, it makes some sense. He opened the bishop on g2. And now we come to, let's call it our critical position. Now, I think both players were guilty of the assumption that knight takes b6 was a threat from white. In fact, it is not. And as Tim notes, the database says bishop d5. Now, Tim, when you write your notes, try to explain what the idea is, right? And the point is that if you take on b6, you being white, then we get bishop c5 ideas of blocking the c file if we need it, rook e8, and the pawn on d4 being very annoying. Not a weakness, but a strength. So I'd say black's better here. Okay, now your move, though, was interesting, and I think white's natural next move was a mistake. I think white should be gunning for, if I can use that term, knight c5 and probably queen c2 is what white should play. Okay, so bishop b2. Now, here's our next moment. What you now do is a chess crime, Tim, and let's just show what you do. You go here because you think that's what you have to do, and you allow the knight in. And now white is doing just fantastic. And interestingly, you think your mistake is here playing c6. Honestly, I think you're already in a little bit of trouble. Okay, so the question becomes, or rather, maybe let's call it the exercise here. The reason GMs find interesting tactics is not because they see everything. It's because they're thinking about strategically what's going on. And one thing black should definitely be thinking of here is I don't want him to play knight c5, and I don't want to play bishop c8. So then as an exercise, we can ask, how can we prevent this? And just as a creative solution, I was thinking about this myself, and I said, oh, hey, how about c5, right? Very simple thought. The bishop on b2 will be dead if you don't take, and the knight on a4 will likewise be dead if you don't take en passant on c6. And so the idea behind this trick is that the knight's trapped. So we found a solution, right? And bishop b2, therefore, was a mistake and needed to probably play queen c2 instead of bishop b2. Okay, now the point of the exercise is this. When you find yourself giving away time like it was free, like we're doing with knight c5 and bishop c8, take a moment and think if you can do something else. Because I guarantee you, Tim, and other people out there watching this who are around 1800, if someone were to threaten one of their pawns, and then they would say, wait, I got to find a creative solution not to give up my pawn, right? Very similar. Don't give it up. Time is money, as they say. In the chess world, actually, a good rule of thumb is a tempo is worth a third of a pawn. So 3 tempi is worth a pawn. It's worth something. Time is worth something. Okay, so now I'm going to yell at your opponent, and we're going to breeze through a lot of this stuff that happens, mistakes being made on both sides. And here, we'll start here. This is just a tactical oversight. Of course, white should just play rook c5 and easily win the pawn. Okay. You needed to play rook a7 earlier. And part of the reason is you need to understand that White's dream is for the king to go touch your pawn on b4. And you're going to need counterplay before that happens. If he exchanges a pair of rooks like he's forcing here, then it's very easy for the guy to come on over, right? And now you're lost. Okay. Now, let's just fast forward a little bit and say that even if White did not have the pawn on e3, this position would be lost primarily because Black has no way to generate counterplay on the king side. So it should be easy, right? Okay, here we go. I like e4 in this position for White, but here's the thing I really want to stress, because White's going to make the same mistake you make coming up. Now, one thing I want to say about this pawns aren't people thing. One of the reasons this happens is psychologically, is a lot of times people find it hard to know what's going on in a position. Like, where do I orientate myself on? And what they end up doing is they orient themselves on the pawns. Can I win pawns? Can I save my pawns? Can I give a pawn weakness? Something like that. Instead of thinking about the placement of the pieces. And the endgame is a beautiful place to learn about piece activity, especially a rook endgame. Here we have two people, the rook and the king. That's all we got. The rest are pawns. And we got to cultivate our guys. And so here, let's say king a7, I'm going to put a question mark. Now, is he still winning after this? Yes, but he's missing the idea. The king needs to go. The pawn is not important. What's important is that your king is substantially better than his king when this all goes down, and you're going to start going over here, plop, 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 and you're going to find a way and start winning all those pawns. There's no way to stop it. Okay. So we're going to see it happens again and again here. And f3, mistake, because now, honestly, it's about counterplay. And here you had rook c3, where you had a chance. And here, I think it's already very difficult to win. Very difficult. I don't know what he's doing. Yeah. In any case, you wrote that king c7 was winning. Now I don't know. I was thinking just rook h3 here. That's my move, not yours, that I put in there. And I thought it was very difficult. In any case, that's a side note. 3 important instances where the principle of pawns aren't people comes to mind. And one of the things I really want to stress is it's by going over your games that you will learn about different kinds of red lights that will go on while you're playing the game. And the red light that should come on for one time for him and twice for you was just pawns aren't people. Not to focus on your pawns, but rather on the activity, the lives of your pieces. Okay, bye-bye.